Okay. So over here, you can see the sequence for X are 1, 2, 3, and for Y are A, B, C, D. And this complete, it's a one reference grid element, R, E, F, G, R, D. Inside these, we have different areas for X, for Y, for Z. For inside grid areas, we have grid planes. Each grid plane is GRIDPL. Similarly for Y, okay, the auto collapse explorer is on. I will turn it off. Options. This is not convenient for me. Auto collapse free. Right. Then elevation grid planes. So if you open properties, or you can open attributes as well. Properties for grid or each grid area, you have this annotation. So this is my X planes. This is my Y planes. So you have start ID and step ID. Start ID is, you can see here it is 1. So 1 was specified. Automatically it takes 1 by default. And step ID, what will be the increment of grid numbers? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's an increment of 1. But you can say, let's my start ID is x1, and I want increment of 1. So it will, this is I am specifying grid area, right? Grid reference area. And similarly, I go to Y. I want it to be Y1 as a start ID, and then increment of say 2, just for change. Now, how to reset? Once you have set these values, you can select anywhere in the grid and go to design its reset plane ID. Select anywhere, click anywhere on the grid, reset plane ID. So you can see X2, the increment of 3, Y1, Y3, Y5, Y7, so on. Individually, if you want to change one of the labels, for example, you want to change this, right click, navigate to grid plane. Here you can see this is X3 label. You can make it as X3 dash, maybe, whatever. So individual planes can also be changed like this. X2 plus. This way you can change. You can change it for elevations also. But normally for elevation planes, the elevation is displayed instead of the labels. So the elevation is displayed. You can go to View tab. You can control the annotation setting of grids over here. You show the dimension or not. See, dimension are shown. You can turn it off. Annotate the grids or not. It will completely turn off everything, all the labels. You can increase the font. You can decrease the font. View tab, grids, and you can show for elevation. Show plane IDs for elevations. So any plane IDs, we have not specified any plane ID, so it is displaying 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can show the world elevations. So world elevation is 100, 105, 107, but local elevation, since local elevation means with respect to the grid origin. So 0, 5, 7. So all these things you can control from the grid annotation section. So this is how you modify the labels of the grid. Try it. Okay. Hope you have tried changing the labels. Now let's how to modify the grid planes. Let's see how. In order to modify a grid plane, you have to navigate to the grid planes. By default, if you select, it will select the whole grid. I told you that navigation option is there. Navigate grid planes. You can double click on any of the grid plane. You should select always the label. If you are trying to modify any grid plane, select the label, not the lines of that grid plane. Double click, so it will give you these grips. So this is displacement grid, and these are rotation grips. Right? You can rotate the grid planes like this, but I will show you the displacement one. You want to like move it down -2, right? So you see it becomes 3 meter instead of 5 meter. If you want to add any grid plane between these two elevations, select the elevation you want to add grid plane. Select this and then go to design aids, grid plane. This is only available only inside the in mode. You are inside the grid plane modification mode. If you come out by pressing escape, this button will not be active. So click grid plane. See, whichever you have selected. Okay, it's too much of distance. Let me make it 2 meter. So it adds a grid plane after 2 meter from the bottom elevation. So it will add after this or below this, whatever you select. So grid plane. So as usual, it was absolute. You can make it relative. Say 6 meter. So 6 meter from 2 meter elevation is 8 meter. So you can add more grid planes. You can add in the other direction as well. Select this one, grid plane.